It's the first game at the Eco-Power Stadium in front of the Sky cameras for Rovers on Monday afternoon. Gary McSheffrey got his first winning charge against Shrewsbury Town last time out, with a break in action since then due to the latest COVID-19 outbreak. Sunderland are the visitors for this one, and they are fighting at the top end of the table with 4,000 plus travelling supporters looking to help them close the gap on the top two. It's a crucial game at both ends of the table as Rovers take on Sunderland. Hello, welcome to the Eco-Power Stadium. It's good to have you with us for the latest edition of the Inside Rovers pre-match show. Joining me to look ahead to the game against Sunderland, editor of the Doncaster Free Press, Liam Hoden, and Rovers legend, James Coppinger. Cops, welcome to the show. How are you, first of all?
Yeah, good, thank you. All things considered.
Ready for a busy Christmas?
Always. 3 kids, always busy. First Christmas off in 24 years, so yeah, looking forward to it.
A busy show coming up then. Let's take a look at what to expect this afternoon. We take a look at the highlights from Rovers' last league game against Shrewsbury. Gary McSheffrey looks ahead to a tough test against Sunderland. Chief Commercial Officer John Warburton discusses the first game at the Eco-Power Stadium. And we look ahead to a visit from Sunderland. Cops, your first Christmas period without a game as a player then. How difficult is it to get used to after so long as a professional?
I don't think it's difficult. Well, it hasn't been. I've sort of really enjoyed, as I've said in quite a few interviews, that I don't have this nagging voice in the back of my head telling me not to do this and not to do that. And I'm quite enjoying the fact that I can eat and drink what I want. And yeah, I haven't done that much exercise, which I thought I would be doing, apart from playing five-a-side on a Friday.
A few more drinks and a bit more food on the plate than this Christmas?
Yeah, I like my food. I don't drink that much, but I'll definitely be eating quite a bit, and like you say, I think I'll have to do a little bit after the New Year's resolution to get fitter, I think.
Is it more being able to relax mentally as well, as you said there? You're not thinking, I know obviously Rovers are playing a day later this year as opposed to the traditional Boxing Day fixture, but as Christmas Day wears on, you're not in the back of your mind thinking, right, I've got a game to prepare for tomorrow and getting ready for that.
Yeah, and I think although I've said it's been easy, it's not always easy doing it. It's all right thinking it, but you know, I've been conditioned to have this thing in the back of my head telling me I can't do this, and I have to sort of think about playing a game or training the next day. Almost feeling guilty for eating and drinking and just relaxing. I've always found that quite difficult. So obviously been aware of that and trying to enjoy it with the kids, the family, Christmas dinner, Boxing Day. It's all a little bit different for me, which I'm going to try and make the most of, if I'm being honest.
Liam, what about you? How are the family preparing for Christmas?
Well, we've got a newborn in the house, so that's 3 kids, like Coach said. A bit mad, but yeah, looking forward to it.
Of course, for you, it's different deadlines and all that sort of stuff around this period, isn't it? But a massive game for Rovers to look forward to. The first one in a couple of weeks, of course, after the COVID outbreak.
Yeah, it always makes the job more difficult when a game's unexpectedly called off, but looking forward to this one and getting plenty of content out on that one.
It's one for Rovers where, on the back of that win against Shrewsbury, they'd have probably rather played against Lincoln last week, wouldn't they, to carry on that momentum against another team just outside the relegation zone. But what can they do going into this against a Sunderland team who have been played Saturday and in midweek? It's a game where Rovers hopefully will be fresher than their opponents.
That's it, that's what you've got to hope for. Obviously they had a tough game in midweek, Sunderland against Arsenal. And you've got to hope that it's difficult given what the nature of why the game being called off and what that means for training and things like that. It's difficult to know whether people will be fully rested or up to speed and whether there's any cobwebs need shaking off. But hopefully that's what can stand Rovers in good stead. You know, that bit of freshness in legs, because we know a lot of these players have been hammered this season with the amount that's been demanded of them due to the injuries in the squad.
It has been a common occurrence, though, Cops, even back when Richie Wellens was in charge, whenever they did pick up a win, it seemed like there was an international break the week after, or it would be a cup tie following on. Every game Rovers have won, they've not been able to quite build on the momentum gained.
I think that's the key word, is momentum. It's massive in in football, and going back to the start of the season, we didn't obviously get it in pre-season. We had a sort of a stop-start pre-season, people isolating, and then all the way through the season it's been that way, which is frustrating, especially for the players. You know, you want to get up and running, you want to start scoring goals, and then go into the next game feeling confident, and we just haven't had that.
It's been more than 2 weeks now since Rovers were last in league action. Here are the highlights from a crucial win against Shrewsbury Town. Cops, it was a win that for a large part of the second half against Shrewsbury looked like it might go in the other direction. Rovers hung in there. Lewis Jones probably had the man of the match taken off him by the eventual match winner in Joseph Oluwu, but just how big a win was it against a team just outside the relegation zone?
Yeah, it's massive. I think we've had a couple of them this season where we've had to win the game, in terms of, you know, it's been that big, and I think there'll be plenty more to come in terms of, you know, playing teams in and around us as the season goes on. But the second half display, I thought we showed great fight, togetherness, and when we got the goal, it felt like it gave us that lift that we needed. I think 10 minutes prior to the goal, we sort of had a little bit of a lull. They had a few chances, like you say, and Lewis, I thought, was outstanding throughout the whole game.
A lot's been made, Liam, about Rovers' maybe a lack of experience this season, but you have to learn as much as you can from a result like that, don't you?
Yeah, you certainly do. I thought it were great, given, you know, what they had to do. A decent performance first half, second half really having to dig in, and there's been plenty of questions about the character and that lack of experience and what it's cost Rovers this season. That answered a few of those questions. You know, that showed that this squad is capable of going out and battling and fighting and ultimately getting a win from a game.
And what it does do is provide a little bit of a psychological edge on Shrewsbury themselves to just drag them back a little bit. I know they've since gone on and gained another 3 points on Rovers with Rovers not playing last weekend, but it just keeps you in that little pocket, doesn't it, of teams looking over the shoulder. They know you're there. If that gap had gone to 9 points, it's all of a sudden a different ballgame. Yeah,
you want as many teams down there as possible. You know, when you're trying to claw your way out of that bottom four, you want as many teams up there within reach who can, if they have a bad run or a bad couple of results, can easily send them down into that bottom four, and Rovers hopefully pick up a few positive results and claw their way up. You just got to keep picking up positive results. If you can drag teams into it, that's all the better.
Yeah, on paper, Sunderland provide Rovers with their toughest test of the festive period, and Gary McSheffrey says his team will have to be right at it from minute one to get a result.
What have you made of Sunderland this season? We've seen them in the League Cup this week. They performed a heavy defeat against Arsenal, but I think everyone thought that they gave a good account of themselves. What do you feel that they've managed to do so far this year?
And they've got quality all over the pitch. They've got pace pacey in good attacking areas. They've got a couple of clever players, quite aggressive defenders. So when they get it going, they're decent, and they've hit some good form in the league. Arsenal got a good score line against them the other day, but there was a spell 20 minutes before half time where Sunderland really had a good spell in the game. Got their goal, unlucky probably not to get another, but caused constant threats for Arsenal. So they're a decent team. We have to respect them a lot, but there's definitely gaps that we can look to exploit.
Liam, Sunderland, as we know, one of the biggest clubs at this level. They're backed well wherever they travel, expecting 4,500, if not more, here on the 27th. It can be a 12th man for them, can't it, at times? And as Gary McSheffrey says, it's a tough game no matter when you play them.
Certainly is, and we've seen you get that packed away, and it does make a big difference. I think we saw it the other week with Mansfield when they came. It made a big difference for them. So it's going to be tough. We know that, but there's been some difficult afternoons against Sunderland over these last few years, but there's been some good ones in terms of the way that Rovers have battled against the quality that they always possess, but also against the crowd too.
Cops, they're a team, aren't they? I know as someone from the North East yourself, a team that everyone associates with playing in the Premier League, and at least top-end Championship. So to see them in League One for 4 or 5 years now, it must be a surprise to you and I imagine a lot of the people within football. Yeah,
definitely, and the expectation level at Sunderland is absolutely massive. Obviously, massive history, big club in the North East. And you know what, the players that they bring in have to be ready for that. It's huge, and the way they go about their business, the way they have done this season, they've done really, really well. Obviously went to Arsenal and did well for probably 45 minutes. So it'll be interesting to see how they come, how they fare against us, with potential sort of people injured and obviously potential people out.
They've changed tact a little bit in the way they've recruited, haven't they? Maybe got a bit of a younger squad under Lee Johnson. The likes of Charlie White, Max Power left the club in the summer. Do you think that's been the biggest recipe for maybe having a bit more success this season?
I think a bit of time. I think obviously Lee Johnson's been there a year now, trying to stamp his authority in the way he wants to play and how he wants to do things. He's bringing in players that he wants to bring in, and I think that's what it needs. I think, like you say, over the last 3-4 years, there's been managers coming and going, and it's been really difficult to get that continuity throughout the squad, I think.
And Liam, Gary coming up against a manager in Lee Johnson who's had success at this level before. What will Gary have learnt in the first sort of 3 games that he's had, do you feel, as manager?
I think he's approached it in an interesting way in terms of that he's been very encouraging, and that's what he's wanted to really sort of emphasise, the encouragement factor, and it's borne fruit really. You can see that in the improved performances, and particularly from the young lads who he's put a lot of faith in, and they're the ones in particular that he's looking to be encouraging with, rather than kind of critical of too many mistakes, trying to bring them on. I think that's what he said. He said that to this he's offered some realism of where Rovers are, where the issues are, and things like that. And I think he'll be pretty pleased with the job that he's done so far, I would say.
Yeah, the club Doncaster Sports College Academy A-team are enjoying an unbeaten league campaign this season. And lecturer Craig Collins says good form on the pitch has led to an increase in performance in the classroom as well.
Craig, talk to us about the form of the College Academy A-team at the minute.
To be fair, it's been quite remarkable, and probably something that we didn't really expect at the start of the academic year. As with every year, we have the first years that progress to the second year, and the second years leave, and we have a new intake every year. So to form a group that collectively works together and builds the relationships that you might have in other teams is quite hard. But this year we've been very fortunate that we've got some very talented footballers, but also lads that want to work hard for each other. And we've found that over the season, it's kind of worked out really well. And we've picked up some really good results along the way, which at the moment means that we are kind of undefeated in the EFL CIFA League, both the cup competitions and the league as well.
How have you found that form on the pitch has sort of reflected then in their maybe personalities coming out and bringing their confidence as well?
Yeah, massively. And I think it's been good also in the classroom as well. We're obviously education first. You've got to get things right in the classroom in order to play for the college on the Wednesday. So we find that the football side of things is a massive carrot for them in terms of hooking into their personality personalities, but we've seen that their leadership skills, communication skills, teamwork skills have all developed throughout the year so far, and hopefully to keep impressing and improving over the academic year.
What's the link up like then, from your point of view, with the sports college to Doncaster Rovers? Obviously, Owen Scattergood, Bobby Faulkner, both students of yours. Owen scored in the FA Youth Cup not so long ago, and of course, Bobby's signed his first deal with the first team.
Yeah, and that's excellent for us, and it just shows that link between the sports college and also the DRC youth team as well, and that's kind of been an ongoing process and something that we're strengthening year on year. And this year it seems to coincide with we've got a really good crop of players, and the opportunities there for them are kind of endless. So we've had a couple of students now training with the under-18s team alongside their studies. We've also had recently a friendly against the under-18s as well, and it's something that myself and Tony Cook are working in partnership in order to develop further, to see if there is any potential students that might be that hidden gem that might be able to be picked up, similar to like Bobby and Owen and other students that may come as well.
How satisfying is it for yourselves seeing these people grow in the classroom and then going off and becoming footballers themselves and making a career for themselves?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately that's the goal for some of them, and it's only a small percentage, and we have to be realistic with them. For us, it's about developing the people and making them employable, and first and foremost, gaining their qualification. Now, if they can be a professional footballer, that is the cherry on the top. Obviously, it is. But yeah, for us, it's the education first, making sure you're getting that work experience, developing them soft skills, making you more employable. So when you leave college, you're a really good human being with lots of really good different skills to hopefully make you employable within the sports sector, whether that might be a personal trainer, a fitness instructor, or even going on to higher education with our partners, Doncaster College and University Centre as well.
It's been a big few weeks for Rovers, and in particular the commercial department, with the Eco Power Group taking over the naming rights to this place. Here's Chief Commercial Officer John Warburton on what the deal represents for the club.
John, the first game at the Eco Power Stadium coming up on Monday. As a man who's obviously put the deal together for the club, how excited are you for that?
Very excited. It's not every day that you do this. Obviously the stadium naming rights is one of the biggest partnership opportunities that we've got available, that we've ever worked on. Having Eco Power come in was a massive boost for the club. They're a good local organisation who really care about the area. They want to get to know the fans, they want to get to know the club. And yeah, we're all just really excited for the Sunderland game on Monday.
Of course, there's been a lot of talk about it for a few weeks now, but the signs have been going up over the past few days or so. Has that made it all seem a little bit more real?
Yeah, it's added a different complexion to this December. We've never had one quite like this. Been really busy. I've been out there myself doing a little bit of the install. But yeah, it's been all hands on deck, and I suppose that's what it's like when it's all hands to the pump. Everyone's really busy, and yeah, we just can't wait to showcase it and get people down and show them all the hard work that's been done.
With the game being in front of the Sky cameras as well, you and Eco Power couldn't have asked for much more exposure, could you?
No, that felt quite well, didn't it? Obviously, it wasn't prescribed that way, but yeah, absolutely perfect. Gives us a really early opportunity to show the world who Eco Power are, what they have in store for the club, and like I said before, the support that they have given us so far has been second to none. And we're looking forward to seeing how that rolls out over the next few years.
In terms of the deal itself, and obviously it's a big one for the club, as you said there, it's not very often you change name of a stadium. So how do you see that deal benefiting the club, and how will the partnership between ourselves and Eco Power flourish over the next few years?
Yeah, so I mean, it goes without saying it's a commercial agreement, so financially it's obviously one that the club are very happy about. But more than that, Eco Power has obviously got really strong values and in the sustainability agenda and the green agenda, which obviously is quite hot with the football league at the moment. So we want to see how we can roll that out and how we can get this stadium working in a more green way. But yeah, there's lots of different levels to it, and we're just excited to see where it goes.
And you've got the 100 Club in the commercial department at the minute, going really well. another deal like this can only promote what you're doing, can't it? For other businesses who maybe aren't involved with you just yet to come along and get involved.
Absolutely. We've been working on what was the official partnership model for 3 or 4 years now. And we always had this focus of getting to 70 partners. Well, we've achieved that now. EcoPower are actually the 70th partner to arrive with us. But now obviously we're calling it the 100 Club, and that's with us striving towards that 100 partners. The idea being that those 100 businesses will work together. So it's not just about how they can get their names out to the fans and the supporters and all of the local businesses. It's how they can actually work together within that 100. And we're here to make those links, and we want to be seen as a business hub of this community. It goes without saying that Doncaster Rovers, Doncaster Rugby League, Doncaster Bells, the Foundation and Club Doncaster as a whole are a hub of the community in their different areas. The business side of Club Doncaster is no different. We want to be central to businesses working together in this town.
Cops, it's probably going to be a strange one for many supporters coming to this place and it not being the Keepmoat Stadium, now known as the EcoPower Stadium. It represents a fresh start, doesn't it, really, for this place?
It does, yeah. I remember obviously the first game here. Mark McCammon scored the goal that end. My dad, family were here, all wearing T-shirts. So yeah, it's a significant moment in the history of the club. The Eco Power Stadium, I really like it. I think it'll be more like the Eco Power. You know, it has to happen. It's part of, you know, what happens in football. People, things move on, and like you say, it'll take a while for people to get used to it.
It's easy to forget, isn't it, that because it's been the Keepmoat for so long, the Keepmoat is a business, the same way that EcoPower is, and it is that transitional thing that has to happen. Yeah,
and like you said, it's happened so many times throughout the country when stadiums change their names, and eventually people warm to it and get used to it. But I genuinely quite like it.
And John's spoken to you, I know, Liam, about what it represents for the football club, obviously Club Doncaster as a whole, the financial gain from it, but also the fact that it's a Doncaster-based business and what that can bring as well.
Yeah, it's great. There's a Doncaster-based business getting involved, a growing business as well. You know, it's really good. I think really good for all concerned. It gets their name out there as well, which is ultimately what they want. But obviously the financial aspect for Rovers very good too.
Cops, in terms of on the pitch, probably more than 10,000 fans expected against Sunderland, a team who are doing well at the top end of the table. Probably a lot of young players involved from a Rovers perspective. It's time for them to sort of puff their chests out, isn't it, and take responsibility in this one.
Yeah, I think this season, them type of players, you know, Brandon Horton, Lewis Jones, Larac, you know, they've had an experience and been to grounds where there's been big attendances. So again, been at home and experiencing that is massive for them. I think they've done really well this season so far in dealing with that, and I don't expect this to be any different.
How difficult will it have been for them to adapt? Because for Brandon and Lewis and players like that who came in last season, it's easy to forget that they did so with nobody in the stadium. So you're sort of making your debut twice, aren't you? Because having crowds in it, it's like a totally different ballgame. Yeah,
and under the pressure of being sort of the bottom end of the table, having to deal with an expectation from the crowd of wanting to win every game. It's part of being a footballer, and you know, these sort of experiences will stand them in good stead as they go throughout their careers. But it's one step at a time. For me, in my role, it's about making them understand, you know, it's about performance, it's about understanding how to control that and make sure that you don't let it affect what you're doing out there on a Saturday.
Is that why Gary McSheffrey's had such a desired effect, in terms of it seems like players have just sort of taken a breath when they've gone out to play, because he knows so many of them and they know what he expects at the same time?
Yeah, I think it was ideal, really, in terms of somebody who was going to come and step in that role, because there's so much reliance on the young lads. Somebody who does know them well, as you say, somebody who's worked with them day in, day out for quite a considerable length of time, knows what makes them tick. And yeah, I think that calmness that he's brought has been so valuable over these last couple of weeks.
And because it's a couple of weeks since the last game, although a few have had COVID and obviously been disrupted, the ones who have been able to train and get themselves keep themselves ticking over, I should say, and maybe work on certain areas of the game, that can only benefit them, can't it?
Yeah, that's it. You've got to, in times like this, you've got to do whatever you can, you know, and to make sure that you're progressing as well, and make sure that Rovers can't afford a period of settling back in, so those that have not been affected need to hit the ground running, and hopefully those that have can come back quickly too and make a big impact.
Cops, it's going to be a difficult one, but where do you see the game where can it go in Rovers' favour? How do Rovers go about getting a result against Sunderland, you feel?
I think building on the last performance, like you say, it's been difficult, obviously only having a small group of players to train with and work with from Gaz's perspective, but it's about results. It's about trying to go out there with a game plan, and like you say, with a big crowd, you don't have to get motivated for the game. So yeah, going into the game and trying to work to what Gaz is and Frank have sort of gone through. I imagine they'll have gone through it in detail. Yeah, just enjoy the game. I think that's the biggest thing from what we're saying is, going there with no fear and trying to get a result.
Liam, how do you see it playing out?
That second half against Shrewsbury gave me a lot of confidence in terms of the way that they can battle. We know that there's going to be some tough times in this game, but the Rovers have shown a bit of resolve. A draw.
Safe bet. Liam, Cops, thank you for your company. Thank you at home for watching on as well. Come down and support the lads as they go in search of 3 festive points as Rovers take on Sunderland.